You know, we're talking about NAU and we're talking about UNC and all of those college things. Three letters more important than all of them, and that's PCH, particularly when you're a parent and your child needs help. Phoenix Children's Hospital, represented today by Dr. Anthony Pickett. From what department?
Emergency department, sir.
Boy, I'm telling you, you talk about full-time work 24 hours a day.
Absolutely. 365 days a year. We're always open.
Do you have any idea how many kids you see in the emergency department?
I can tell you for a fact, this past year, 2015, we saw over 85,000 kids in the calendar year.
Wow.
Yes.
And tragically, and I think that that is the appropriate word, tragically, all too many of them come to you as a result of drowning accidents.
Absolutely.
Or potential drowning accidents. Talk to me about the statistics, if you can, just simply whether we're improving with all of the information that is disseminated on television, radio, print. Things getting any better?
You know, unfortunately, it's not. It is the biggest heartbreaking thing for myself as one of the ER providers is having the need, such a need to take care of these children. Because as you mentioned, everybody knows the inherent dangers with water safety, but for some reason, year after year after year, we still unfortunately get these children, whether they're fatalities or near fatalities or just, you know, the scary instance when a child does go underwater. I can tell you that drownings are the second leading cause of unintentional death in the United States. The second leading cause behind motor vehicle crashes. And kids less than 5 are 14 times more likely to die in a water-related incident as opposed to a motor vehicle collision.
Yet, for the most part, it can be prevented.
Oh, we'd like to think 100% could be prevented. We know the strategies that are needed regarding pool fences. If you have the proper pool fence that should be about 4.5 feet tall, have self-latching gates with the lock higher than the child's able to reach, you could prevent 70% of all these drowning incidents. 70% you could eliminate.
And what about the other 30%, just keeping your eye on the child?
Pretty much. Supervision is as important as the fence. You know, it's too many times we hear the stories of the child found at the bottom of a pool where there were 10 people in the water at the same time, 3 adults around the pool, and it's just kind of the thinking, I believe, that someone assumes that somebody else is watching the child.
Well, should somebody be assigned? Because we all of us who are parents and grandparents, have had to look back and say, well, sure, I was distracted for just a moment over here, but it only takes a moment because, as we recall, that slogan, 2 seconds is too long, watch your kids around water.
Absolutely.
And there are still kids dying.
Yes, and you know, I think the best strategy to keep children safe is if you're having a gathering at your house or anywhere, have a lifeguard that's hired solely for the purpose of keeping their eye on the pool. Because as an adult, we don't expect adults to not enjoy the gathering, enjoy the family being over, and we know there are distractions that will come up. But if you pay a high school lifeguard kiddo, you know, $5, $7, well, who knows, minimum wage going up, $15 an hour, and their job is to watch the children, then everybody can have fun, and you know that there's one person there solely looking after the children in the pool.
And now that I think of it, if there's a few kids, if we're talking about 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, might not be a bad idea to have a couple of lifeguards.
No one would blame you or be mad at you.
What about the misconceptions?
You know, a lot of it is people assume that when a child drowns, there's going to be splashing and screaming and it's going to be very noisy and it'll catch the attention. Unfortunately, when children drown, they essentially just sink to the bottom of the water and there's not a sound that's made.
The silent killer.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Another one is, you know, you enroll your infant in these water safety classes.
Yes.
Which they're very good and they're very useful because they do teach a child some survival techniques. However, that can give caregivers a false sense of security that I don't need to watch as diligently because they passed this course with flying colors. So that's another big misconception, that just because your infant or toddler may or may not have had limited swim instruction, it still doesn't take the place of that supervision that we feel is so important.
Here's one that drives me crazy. The state has more boats per capita than virtually any other state, even though it's a desert state.
Right.
People with all of the water sports and their vehicles, their boats, their speedboats, sailboats, and they allow some of their kids on those boats without life vests.
Which to me is just, I mean, you want to talk about asking for trouble, playing Russian roulette, is let a child on a watercraft without a life jacket. And then if you mix alcohol into the mix, all bets are off. But unfortunately, we see that all too often.
Well, information is available just about everywhere.
Absolutely.
And PCH is the last place you want to go with your child as a result of a swimming accident. But if you have to go someplace, PCH is the first place you want to go. This is Pat McMahon. Morning Scramble continues